Welcome back to the 150K podcast. I'm your host, Joe Graham, where we help take your dreams to six figures and beyond. Today, I have with me special guest Paulo Barreto. I met him at a George Bryant event. Oh, crap, almost a year ago now in Montana. I saw him speak at
Yeah.
another event in March. And all, but for Paulo, for people that don't know you or your story or all the crazy cool stuff you do, give us a little bit of your background, what you do, and what's going on now.
Yeah, man. I'm Brazilian born and raised. Came to the States back in '08, and around 2013 got turned into fitness. My wife led the way. She became an incredible trainer, and I've basically followed her footsteps and got into it pretty hard and became a trainer. We owned a gym in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Ended up closing due to the pandemic. Worked at a few great brands. Became a traveling trainer or a streaming trainer for iFit Nordic Trek for their treadmills and bike workouts. So I got to see some pretty cool stuff and travel to some pretty amazing places doing what I love, which is fitness. And I was just recently moved to Texas. And we've been in the digital fitness space for a while. And that's what we're focusing on now. We have a clothing brand and an app in which we help people live a better life through fitness.
No, I love that. And welcome to Texas. I'm in Texas as well, up here in the
Thank
DFW
you.
area.
Thank you, man. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Texas is great. Yeah, no,
I
so like
like it.
I've been looking at like your app and stuff, and I do like a kickboxing, boxing workout with some strength training, and there's some kettlebell
Yeah.
stuff in there. So let's start there. I never knew how hard a kettlebell workout would be. Like I know you guys do it, but I didn't realize it would be that tough.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The things about the kettlebell. So kettlebell is without a doubt our bread and butter on the app, and it's the one tool that it's always around us, right? And we've been very fortunate to have some great coaches around us on our come up through this fitness experience. We started with CrossFit, but then kettlebell took a big chunk of our time. And man, it's a tool that different than any other tool requires you to be 100% present. You have to connect body, mind. You have to make it happen. It's not about moving in one plane of motion. It's not just up and down. It's not, you can do a lot of great things with it, but to do that requires presence. Got to be present. You got to have your mind in there. So it's incredible. You can use as a conditioning tool. You can use as a strengthening tool. You can use as anything. Very versatile. There's one tool that if I had to take a tool with me to an island, and that's all I had forever, that'll be it.
That's
So how
nice.
do you enjoy it?
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if I enjoy it as much as I've used it and I feel it hit in muscles differently than because like I've done what I would call like old school lifting, like with just dumbbells and stuff like that. And I've done some of the air stuff, but I've started doing with this gym I'm at right now where we're doing some kettlebell stuff that I had never done before. And it's just I like it, but it's like you said, you had to be 100% present, which is good because it's not like the old school stuff where you can just like kind of zone out. Like you have to like hold
Yep.
your core in. You had to do things that normally you could
Mhm.
cheat on before. So I think it's amazing in that regard.
It's incredible, man. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned something there that I like about being 100% present. And this shows about, business and entrepreneurship and all that type of stuff. And I know fitness helps with that. So, with you running businesses and doing stuff like that, how important is it to you for people to be a present or talk a little bit more about being present in maybe business, life, what you do?
I think, well, it's a big challenge. It's something that I personally have to work on every single day, multiple times a day. And whether it is in business or whether it is in a relationship, it requires you to, when I say present, it means it's so easy nowadays because we're all juggling so many things. There's so many plates that we're spinning. And it's very normal for you to be in a place physically, but to be in, in a complete different place mentally. It's actually the norm. How many relationships where people are just taking on day by day and they're never in checking in with each other and making sure that you're present. So it's imperative in business, I think, but more importantly, as a common trait, person to person relationships, friendships. It's something that I have to work on every single day.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So let's talk a little bit about that because you're with your wife and you have a brick and mortar business. So you're doing that, right? And then the pandemic happens and you have to shift and move through. How did you guys, because you guys have been in the fitness space for a long time, how did you guys make that shift? I mean, was it easy? Was it hard? What did you run into with that?
Man, it was a big shift, not only on the business side for us, but so it's an interesting story. So end of 2019, towards the end of the year, um, like I mentioned in the beginning, we've done some work, my wife mostly, with some pretty amazing brands. Bodybuilding.com was one of them. And she created, and it was a background talent for her, a program called FYR 1.0 and 2.0. And these programs, through bodybuilding, we're able to reach a lot of people. And we kind of got turned into the whole follow along. So basically, we turn on the camera, we coach a class, we work out with you, we're sweating, we're swinging, we're doing everything with you while we're trying to jog you up in a lot more than just the fitness side of it. Stimulate you, motivate you, inspire you. And end of 2019, because we had the digital space, we were in the digital space with workouts that were delivered daily via email, and it was working fine. At the end of the year, she goes, "Man, I think that what our people want is follow along workouts, just like we did with bodybuilding." I'm like, okay. And she had the vision to start an app. This is end of 2019. So we started the app. The turnaround was not great whatsoever. We had a lot of churn and we were on freak out mode. Like, oh my God, we try to do this and it fucking backfired. We shot ourselves in the foot. No. And I mean, I don't believe in coincidences, but 2020 rolls around. It's March. We have to close our brick and mortar facility. And it was as simple as switching a key. We closed on March 18th. March 19th, we already had the app, the infrastructure, uh, the technology, everything set up. So while most of the world had to understand, oh my God, I got to turn into Zoom. I got to use some sort of digital platform to communicate with people and keep everything going. We had that set up. We were so fortunate. And it was crazy because initially we thought that it was a very bad hand that we got into. And when the pandemic hit, we just simply turned. So to answer your question, easy, no, but it was simpler than I believe most people had to deal with. We were very fortunate, very lucky. And then from that point on, with the pandemic, as you can imagine, people are locked up, people can't take it anymore. And fitness is something that can help a lot of people stay sane and still live life without going completely mad. It was great. The turnaround of the app just went up, exponentially. And we were like, oh my fucking God, I can't believe that a decision that were deemed to be horrible a few months ago turned out to be the answer to everything.
Yeah,
So it was crazy. It was
it's
crazy, man. Great ride. It's been a
no, that's
crazy ride.
cool. That's very cool. It's like it happened for you instead of to you, which is good. At the time it probably
Yeah.
wasn't fun going through it, but then you're like, holy crap, now we're in a position to take advantage and help people and, do the things we love. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. But I mean, although from a work standpoint, business standpoint, that's how we happen. I gotta say, man, closing the gym, it's something that affected us a lot more than what we could anticipate. When you have brick and mortar facility, when you deal with people on a one-on-one basis, when you have the physical interaction, that let's just say that I didn't know that I was a much better person because of the community that I had
Hmm.
around me than I became through the pandemic. Once you took the community out of our lives and the place that we held, um, trying to inspire people on a day-to-day basis. And there I'm talking to you, I'm listening to your stories, to your struggles, to just looking at a camera and trying to coach through a camera. Oh man, we felt the hit on a personal level. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, relationships matter. Like I remember, like I said, going to that event I seen you, that was the first event I had really gone to after the pandemic thing happened because it was just like, people just didn't know what was going on. And then people, it's funny now that
Same here,
people,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's just funny that now that people are back interacting and talking, and some people have forgotten how to be human because they were always in front of the camera.
Man, 100%. I remember Hannah and I, we were still to the pandemic. Some gyms opened up and we were already, closed. We finished that chapter with our lives and we're focusing on the app. And I remember going to gyms and not knowing what to do, where to stand. Like we're standing by the corner behind the fan and we're like, what are we supposed to? You forget people skills and you know, in a personal skills. It's kind of crazy. And I forgot how much we crave connection. We crave relationships and we crave being around people.
Yeah, and I think that's key in life and business and entrepreneurship and all this, having the right connections in life, having the right people in your corner that, can walk with you and help you and guide you, and you help them back. And it's kind of nice now that people are coming back together, they're getting to interact more in, be community, which I think a lot of us lost. So you went from the brick and mortar and you were still in Florida. What made the shift to Austin? Like Florida and Austin, there's two different types of communities, ideas, thoughts, all that fun stuff.
Man, it's a crazy story. So last year, 2021, um, we got rid of the house that we were renting in March and we bought an RV and we set out on this incredible trip throughout the country and we visited many states. And one of our objectives, one of our, you know, main points of this mission was to find a place to relocate. We're done with Florida. I guess the only thing holding us back to Florida was the gym. So once we closed the gym, we're like, man, we try to create a life through this digital space that would allow us to do whatever we want.
Hmm.
And now for the first time, we actually can. So why not? And we passed by Austin, loved Austin, and we loved Montana. There was another place, San Diego. We didn't get to go to San Diego, but we heard that it's incredible.
Hmm.
Expensive, pricey, but other than that, amazing. Perfect weather, great people. Um, and cool, we had that in mind. And then turns out that it was during George's event that this whole thing came about. So we came with George's mastermind and we stayed in the house with him and we played full out for 4 days. We, you know, took part of every event with every keynote speaker that he had around the house. Um, and, doing work. One thing that it's incredible that I think that George uh, does extremely well is he tries to help people optimize their businesses. But step number one is helping people optimize themselves,
Yep.
right? Is like, look, you can try and change your business however you want. If you don't change yourself, forget it. You're not going to go anywhere. And Georgia has, he's got these incredible, role playing things and scenarios that he puts and conversations and Q&As, and slowly through the experience in the house, we started getting more clarity and more clarity. And it got to a point in the house that we're like, holy shit, we're gonna move to Austin. Fuck it. That's what we're doing. And I remember sitting around the living room talking to everyone and people saying, I'm gonna change this. And we're like, guys, you know what? We're ready to implode everything, just like you guys are saying, and we're moving to Austin. We're gonna say fuck it. And we did it, man. We did it. I remember that we had our flight was scheduled to leave Austin on Sunday. Sunday was the last day of the event that we saw each other
Hmm.
that George had in the resort, and we changed the flight to Wednesday. Sunday we went to Saturday or Sunday. Sunday we went to look at a house, this house, and we liked it. Monday we came back with our realtor. Tuesday we put an offer. Flew back Wednesday, and then Friday that week we got a call saying, "Hey, man, they accepted your offer." I'm like, "Oh shit, we're going to Austin." But it was
That's
like that. It
awesome.
was no whim. I'm not joking, man. It was crazy. We woke up one day and we're like, "Okay, life's good." Did some exercises with George, with the group, with everyone in the house. Left the house for a workout, I think. And when we come back, we're like, "I think we should fucking move to Austin." That's it. And now
Hmm.
we're here, man. It's crazy. We're like, you know what? We can't live with fear of the what if, because like we said, we crave relationships and we crave community. And this is what Austin has to offer more than any other place that we've ever been. It's crazy. Here is incredible. And the more we put ourselves out there, uncomfortable situations that we haven't been used to since the pandemic, right? You got to go to places, got to meet people, you got to put yourself in vulnerable situations. And we met some amazing people, people that became our circle, people that we became connected even a lot more than many of the people that we had around us in Florida. And it was such an easy transition, incredibly easy transition. I didn't think that it would be like this whatsoever, but it's been incredibly satisfying and we love it. We love every bit of it. Moving interstate sucks.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely sucks. You wouldn't pay me to move today anywhere for the next 7, 8 years. But coming in, meeting people, making friendships, meeting new communities, learning new skills has been, invigorating. It's been amazing.
Yeah, no, I love that. But you mentioned a few things there, like with the community. You were in George's event, you were with his mastermind, with the live event, and you guys felt and knew that you wanted to make a change, and you listened to your heart, and you said, you know what,
Yeah.
worst case scenario, we just won't be happy there. We can move. You took the
Yeah.
risk, and it's brought you to where you need to be. So I, I think a lot of times we overthink it, and it sounds like you guys just were in the right moment in the right group and said, nope, we're going to do it, and it just fell into place exactly how you needed it to be.
Yeah, man, we're a little ballsy on that way. Let me rephrase that. My wife instills in me this like ramble, like Chuck Norris side, as in like, fuck it, we're gonna do it. Let's go. And I'm a lot more methodical, I'm a lot more in my head, like, okay, what if, what are the scenarios, pros, cons, like, and she's more like, let's fucking go. I'm like, ah, fuck it, let's go. And it's been good. Like we balance each other out very well in that sense. Yeah. It's great.
No,
That's why we got to find the right partner for you, man. Because if you were both too conservative, too in your mind, I don't think that we'll be here today.
yeah,
So we need a crazy one, at times, and like kind of toss around with that role, being a little crazy, being a little more rational. So that's good.
yeah. No, I'm with you 100%. I've been married 21 years. I'm more the crazy one. My wife is definitely more practical and rational, but we lived in Michigan
Uh,
and we decided we wanted to move to Texas and we moved 1,000 miles away from family and everyone is the best thing we've ever done. So like I hear you. It's like knowing
why
what
did
you
you
want to
decide to
do and
move?
going after it.
Why did you decide to move?
Back at that point, it's kind of funny. Back at that point, I had a buddy that was starting a church and I wanted to help him out with it. Long story short, that
Yeah,
church imploded and all, but it really was, I talked about things happen for you. This happened
yeah.
for me and connected me with people, which connected me with George, which connected me to starting my business and being really who I wanted to be. Um, so when I first thought I was moving to Texas, I thought it was for this reason, and in reality, God, the universe had a totally different reasoning, but it's worked out well. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
we've been here 11 years now, almost 12.
Nice, man. And do you see yourself being even closer to the person you are today in a relationship with your wife, with your business, had you stayed in Michigan?
No, no, I would not. I would have. Sometimes you have to get away from family, friends who have in their mind a good thought process for you, but they don't really know what you're capable of or who you are. And you need to get around people that will lift you up, build you up, and see the greatness in you. Because love my family, but like I do a lot of crazy things they've never even thought of. So, it's not that it was a bad thing. It was just we had to get away from the family, had to get away from the stuff and just be our own people.
That's it, man. That's really a big part of why we're here in Texas because we wanted to be around. And again, we spent what, 12, 13 years in 14 years in Florida, since I moved there. And we had an incredible circle of friends, amazing friends that did uplift us, that, pushed us. But we needed new environments. We
Mhm.
needed people that were different experiences, people that would challenge me and my wife in different ways, right? And it's really, really hard for anyone to move in a state, like pick up and go away from family, right? So we're trying to start a family soon. And her parents live in Fort Lauderdale, and everyone's like, wait, but you're gonna get a baby, and no one. Well, that's part of it, and you figure it out.
Hmm.
You figure it out.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
but we're the different ones. Entrepreneurs, people that start businesses, do this type of thing. We don't think like normal people. Like, and that's not a sly. It's just we go and create something new and bring it back in, like Alex Sharpton talked about. It's not like I look back at it. And used to be the guy that worked in the factory, worked the job, would come home and watch TV, and I was miserable. Like I can't do that anymore. I mean, don't get it wrong. Every once in a while, when football or something's on, I mean, I watch stuff, but it's like your whole process, your
Sure.
ideas change.
I know. I know. And vastly influenced by the people we have around you.
Hmm.
In my case, at least. You see people doing stuff and you're like, oh my God, I never thought shit. And then the more you see it, you're like, oh dude, it's just a normal person.
Hmm.
It's not a genius. It's just a normal fucking person that just gets it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
that's
that
why.
was actually one of the experiences that helped a lot. Sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
no, no, no. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I said that's actually one of the experiences that helped us a lot during the RV trip. We were fortunate enough to connect with new friends that we made. We just DM them on Instagram and say, "Hey, we're gonna be around your neck of the woods. You want to meet up?" And we met such great people, incredibly high achievers, like high output people,
Hmm.
with very, very, very successful businesses. And when you get into their lives day to day, you're like, oh my God, he's just a normal person.
Hmm.
He's just a normal person who refuses to settle. And then look what they built. So fuck, if it works for them, fuck it. I can make it work, you know?
Yep. Yep. 100%. Like I said, going to the events, meeting with people, connecting with even people in the DFW area that are like, pushing me enough to say, okay, cool. I know this person. They're normal, but yet they're crushing records. They're doing different things because who you hang out with is who you
Mhm.
become. It really is. Like since I've come into George's world and it's
Yeah.
stretched me like crazy, which is good. Like I was the top sales dog, and now I'm like, oh crap, I need to get to work because these people are doing so much more, and it's
Yeah,
just it encourages me to push harder.
I know, man. His event, the one that we met, the one in Montana, it was incredibly transformative to me. Um, I attributed to that event a lot of the changes that I put forth in my life, in my relationship with my wife. It's been amazing. And if you ask Hannah, there was something happened in that event. I don't know what it is. It was my first mastermind event, first time being exposed to business people, entrepreneurs. It was yeah, for anyone watching this or listening to this, you don't have a group of people, call it mastermind, call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. It can really change a lot of the perspective you have in mind and open up a whole book of possibilities, as in, oh fuck, I just met this person and you changed a lot of my life. Changed a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just goes back to relationship matters. And you mentioned it earlier. The more you work on yourself, the better you get on yourself, spirit, soul, body, the whole being, the more you can help people, the more you can build your business. And I think a lot of people like the idea of business, but they don't understand that there's a secret sauce. They have to put the work in. Just like with working out, you don't get super ripped in the beginning. It takes time and effort. Same thing with your business life and in general.
Yeah. And the tough, not balance, but the tough harmony to find is focusing on building the business, which I think most people, most of us do, focus on the business and let go of yourself. That's so tough, right? And then once you realize that working on yourself, it's what reverberates into the business. I think that's when the real magic and real change happens. And I think that George does a great job in highlighting that and making sure that everyone that comes through his channels understand that fuck man, it's in you. It's in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And finding the right group. Cause like this will be I'm going to his event in October again. It'll be the third one I've been to. But it's like now it's like I know what he's doing, and some of the new speakers they have coming are great. And I'm like, I'm going to connect with my friends now. Because in the first time when I met you, that was like my first time there. It's just meeting people. But now I'm like talking to them online and all. It's like this is where we meet and we kind
Yeah.
of just talk and yeah. So I'm excited about that. So
Also,
what's
it was your
next?
first time. That's cool. It was your first time too. That's really cool. I didn't
Yeah.
know.
Yep. First time at an event like that. I went to a little one that I met him at, but it was not the same type of setup. Um, First time at like a
Hmm.
really big event where there's like, what, I think there's like
Right.
70 people there.
Yeah, that was cool. That was big too.
Yeah, I liked it. So what's next for you guys? I know you moved to Austin, you have the app going, you're going to start a family. I mean, that's a lot right there, but is there any like future plans, future ideas?
Man, right now I'm trying to find out what's next. We have many changes happening to our world, to our app. Um, the biggest change I think is that from this point on, I'm going to step back and Hannah's going to spearhead 100% of it, take care of it, manage the team, do everything herself, and completely be the CEO, the COO, and run with that flag. And I am, I've always had a passion for, an interest for, and I think that right now, with that, not separation, but with that distinction of roles that we are putting in our business, real estate is going to be my next step. I
Nice.
want to start investing, making sure that we create generational wealth through the money that we make today,
Hmm.
right? Fitness is amazing. Fitness is something that will always be part of our lives. But I think that one day we're going to be old and wrinkly, and sure, we can still do what we do, but it's going to be at a different scale.
Yeah.
And I think that now is the moment to start thinking about what's next, right? And yeah, in my head, I think that real estate is the next step.
No, that's
Preparing
good.
myself to dive into that world,
Yeah.
right?
No, it's really good. Like you get, like you mentioned, generational wealth, because I think the stat is more than 80% of all millionaires get it through real estate. Like literally real
I
estate
I
is the
don't doubt.
avenue.
Yeah, I don't doubt. I don't doubt because hell, man, I'm 37. One day I'll be 67, and if in 30 years I can secure a few properties, um, damn, my kids are going to be fine. They're going to be
Hmm.
set up. Our family's going to be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think that that's the point. That's the strategy for me. So when you ask what's next, I think that real estate's going to be the answer.
I like it.
And then again, find new masterminds, find new groups, find new mentors, because although fitness will always be there, yeah, I can't wait to learn more and pick people's models of how they made happen in the real estate side, in the real estate business, that I know that I have a lot to learn, a lot to learn.
Yeah, yeah. No, it makes sense. It's like you're going into starting a whole brand new thing. So you're like at that super excited stage, and then you're going to learn how to, what type of property you want, whether it's multifamily or single, and what type of deals you want to do, and that whole aspect. But yeah, no, that's a very cool. I have a lot of friends that do that. I don't personally do it yet, but it's something that eventually I want to invest in it, but not be in control. Like have someone that knows what they're doing, give them my money and let them
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. There's funds that you can just put your money and get a
Yep.
return on it. I know that.
Yeah.
But
There's
no, I want to
REITs and
be
stuff. Yeah.
hands on. Yeah, I want to be hands on. Still don't know how we're gonna start. First step. Not sure if it's gonna be a flip. It's gonna be a rehab and hold. Um, Several options, many options that we can handle, but that's it. I really like the idea. And Texas is an exciting market.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, I'm here. Austin is super hot now. Austin, South Florida, Montana, these are places where are super hot, where the
Hmm.
market is, well, it exploded and now it's kind of like regulating itself. So yeah, I'm excited to learn more about that.
Yeah. Don't count out DFW since you're in the area, because that's blowing up too. Dallas Fort Worth is crazy at the moment.
No, I know. And actually, my good friend, which is he has a mortgage company. He is in Dallas, and he's like a piece of this whole equation. So we're constantly talking where to go, where to invest, because he lives the market.
Hmm.
And, you know, I can be the legs, I can be the boots on the ground.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. So where can people find you? Because we talked about the app, we talked about some of the different things you guys do. Where can they find you guys?
Yeah, man. So we have the app. The app is called Hannah Eating Fitness Training. And Hannah Eating Fitness, we have the acronym HAF. So HEF training. You can download that on Google Play Store, on the App Store. If you download today, you're gonna get your 14-day free trial, and it's $14.99 a month, and you have workouts posted daily. That's it.
Love it.
Um, our clothing company, FYR, stands for Find Your Reason. We call it Fire Apparel. Also on the website, and the website is hannaheatingfitness.com. And you can find me on Instagram at pumpfit_Paulo. And I'll be there.
Any answers?
That's it. That's it. I answer. Not great at it, but I won't let you down.
No, that's awesome. So, what other words of wisdom, thoughts that we haven't talked about? I know we talked about family a little bit, we talked about business, relationships. What other parting words would you want the listeners, like maybe they're starting on their fitness journey, or maybe they're wanting to get into entrepreneurship or just finding their tribe? What words of wisdom would you leave with our guests?
Word of wisdom to remember that our time here is finite. And we have to be very, very aware of how we spend our time. And don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to, you know, take leaps, and don't let fear guide your life. If you have something, if you have a hunch, if you have a gut feeling, if you have your heart telling you something, fucking do it. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to crash and burn, but it's not okay to get to the end and know that you didn't take the opportunities that came to you.
I love it.
That's it.
I love that. That's a perfect way to end this. For all of you listening, share this episode with friends, family that need to hear it. And until next time, have an amazing, awesome day.